we got ourselves an issue. Welcome back to the channel. First of all, it has been a few weeks since I posted a video. We've been back home, in between trips, you guys. I've been through it. We're coming home, staying a few months, then going out for a trip. Well, today is one of those days that we are getting the old girl ready to hit the road. We're going to be leaving next week for Key West, but more on that next week. Right now, as you can tell from what I showed you guys in the intro, we got ourselves a problem. All right, so we are inside the unit, and I am at the front of the RV where our bedroom is. We have an AC vent right here, and if I put it closer, you could literally see there's water coming out from the actual vent. Myrna has set up a little bucket here to collect some of the water. Now, anytime you have water in an RV or an issue with water, it's concerning. It obviously is an issue. Most of the time, it's a fairly easy fix. It has a lot to do with condensation. It has to do with the drip pan up on the roof, the water pooling. Remember, water is going to find its the path of least resistance. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go up on the roof. We're going to take apart the air conditioner. We're going to check that drip pan, and while we're at it, we're going to make sure that it's not clogged. And because if it's clogged, it'll overflow. But I'll share with you guys that when I take it apart. I'll get more in detail as to what I'm looking for or what I'm hoping to find. Because, a crack in the roof, actually, if I found a hole in the liner of the roof, that would be like the easiest. Just patch it up and move on. But I think it has something to do with the drip pan. Let's go upstairs and let's check it out. All right, so we are up here on the roof. The actual AC that I'm concerned with right now, or the area that is leaking, is the front AC. I have a Coleman Mac, and my system is a ducted system. So it's not your typical AC where you look in your RV and your AC unit has all the controls right there on the ceiling of the RV. This one, it has a panel, and inside all you see is the vents. So again, it's a Coleman Mac, and we're going to take it apart. We're going to start off first with these first 4 screws. Now be very careful. If you have an older unit, these shrouds tend to get brittle, and be careful taking off these screws because they'll break. Now make sure when you come up here, bring all your tools with you. I got all my tools. I got my power drill, I got some bunch of screwdrivers, and also be careful when dealing with tools up here, because if you drop a screwdriver and you drop it point first, like that, you'll just make a nice little hole in your membrane, your roof membrane. So just be very careful. Bring all your tools with you so you don't have to go up and down. Let's take this apart. All right, now that we took the shroud up, you have to kind of gently pull it from the top, or actually from the front, and I'll show you here. You have these 3 little clips, this one here, here, and here, that hold the front end of that shroud in place. So you have to take these screws, and you have to take these screws, this one here, this one, this one, this one, that one, and the same on the other side. You don't have to take these 2 screws out, because these screws actually hold the panel on the inside. I will tell you this though, when you start taking this front of the metal covering of the condenser, when you start taking it apart, be very careful. There's like an insulation cover that over time tends to stick to things. So just make sure when you're pulling it apart not to tear that insulation apart, trying to keep it as intact as possible. This comes out in 3 pieces. This is 1 piece. This side comes out and the other side comes out, and you just kind of flip it forward, and then it'll expose the condenser. And I'll show you what I got. Let's take the screws off. All right, the video kind of cut off, I guess because of the heat that we have up here. And I don't know if you guys noticed, but the insulation that I was telling you guys to be very careful with, because it'll break, it'll stick and break. Well, mine stuck and broke, so that's just something I'm going to have to now research and get a new piece of insulation. I'll think of something. But the concern that I had with the drip pan being clogged, that's not it. I found the culprit of the leak, which, to be perfectly honest with you, might not be a bad thing, because at least I know my roof isn't leaking. I'm gonna turn around here and I'm gonna show you guys. I can't really pull the shroud all the way out without removing these huge bolts, but I'm gonna show you guys what I got going on. So as I slide the shroud forward a little bit, you guys see this right here? This is supposed to be a condenser coil. It goes all the way down. This is all ice, by the way. It is completely frozen all the way through. One huge block of ice. One huge block of ice. All this is ice. So of course, as that ice melts, guess where it's going, folks? It is going, see that little white area down there and those wires? That's the air duct. That is the air-conditioned air duct. So this is melting, or this is now currently melting, and it is dripping into that, which in turn is dripping inside the air duct inside the RV. So pretty serious stuff here going on. I could take, oh, I didn't take these two screws off, but I can take this side off and this side off and show you guys a little bit more of what I can do. Let me take care of that and show you. All right, so as you can imagine, few things. I was gone there for a minute because I was running around trying to figure something out. Remember, I had water coming into the coach. So concern number one is, how do I stop that? I already figured it out. I already figured out what the leak inside was. And to be honest with you, it doesn't really make one bit of difference right about now. You know, some would argue that maybe a little tear in the roof would have been better because we could just put Eternal Bond on it and move forward. Some would argue that, hey, the freezing of the air conditioner is not that big of a deal. You just let it melt. The problem is that as it melts, that huge chunk of ice, it's got to go somewhere. The ice has to go somewhere. So the concern is now to get it to melt, or help it melt, maybe with a heat gun or something. Help it melt, but divert the water. I cannot remove the condenser coil. And for those of you that don't know what a condenser coil is, I'll show you later, or once it dries, I'll put a picture in it right here so you guys can see it. It looks like a radiator, basically. That's what's frozen, and it's 100 degrees outside. It's 94 degrees here in Florida right now, so it's melting at a pretty good clip, but that water's got to go somewhere. The last place I wanted to go to is inside my coach. So I went inside my garage looking for stuff. I found a piece of metal fencing. Metal fencing, you know, those planks that are like 5 or 6 inches wide, and I slid it underneath the condenser coil without disturbing the copper wires, without disturbing anything, without disturbing the drip pan. I slid it under there so that it covers the entire chunk of ice and diverts all the water to the drip pan, so therefore eliminating any leaking into the house. All right, so I left everything kind of melting. I left it in the process of melting. It shouldn't take too long because check out the temperature right now in South Florida. It's brutal, which is probably one of the reasons why the AC froze up to begin with. I mean, once that coil melts, I'll check it. Usually if it's dirty, it'll freeze up, but it shouldn't be dirty because I just had it maintenance while I was up at Affinity. So it probably has a lot to do with the just continuous running. But I left it melting, and I'm running over here to Home Depot to see if I can get lucky and find some of that that stick-on insulation that I basically tore off, or I don't know, see if I can put something together, hack something, make something happen. I'll let you know. All right, back from Home Depot. Got what I think we kind of need. Let's check out and see how the defrosting is going. Well, would you look at that? I've been gone for 45 minutes. That's what the heat here in Florida does for you. Holy moly. Completely defrosted. And this fell off already. Look at this. Very interesting. All right, good morning. So it is obviously another day. Yesterday I got here. I didn't film putting this together because I wanted to, I don't know, I was trying something and I wanted to see if it worked. It didn't work. It got late in the afternoon. Plus it was 100 degrees up here. So I figured, you know what? I put everything away, shut it all down. And this morning I went to get this. And this is what I'm going to insulate the inside. And then I'm going to actually show you something that I'm going to do outside, which I got from another YouTuber, which was a great idea, an RV guy. And I'm going to show you what I'm going to do with that. But the one thing I wanted to remind you guys, when the ice melted yesterday, I noticed that the sensor, the actual thermostat sensor that goes attached, I'm showing it to you guys here, was off. I don't know if that just melted off with the ice. I don't know if it vibrated with time, and that's why the coil froze. But you got to make sure that that gets installed. It goes right inside the actual coil, and then that way it'll stop it from freezing, or that's the intent. It was off. I made sure and put it back in. If you do something like this, make sure you guys do that. But I'm going to show you real quick what I'm going to do with this new insulation that I bought, and then I'll show you guys the finished product. All right, I'm about to lose the shade here any second, but I'm gonna turn the camera around and I'm gonna show you guys what I did. This does not come like this from the factory. I picked this up from another YouTuber and thought about it. Can't hurt. Between the air conditioning unit and the black shroud that goes on top, there's a lot of space, or there's some space. So if the inside of this box is insulated to basically maintain the cold in, hot out, or vice versa, depending on what time of the year you're in, it can't hurt to do this. So basically what I did is I took the self-adhesive insulation, the reflective insulation, and I insulated the box on the outside, put some tape on it. Now the shroud will secure it better in place, and hopefully we'll get a little bit more efficiency out of it. Let's see. All right, that's it. I'm done up there. I spared you guys the redundancy. I went ahead and I had some extra reflective insulation, and I took apart the rear AC and I did exactly what I did in the front. I did it in the back, but you know, I spared you guys all the details. It was the same. It was the same as the front. Let's see if this is better. I mean, it can't hurt. We're experiencing some serious heat down here in Florida, but let's see if that fixes the problem. It was a pretty straightforward repair or hack, however you want to see it. It was a problem. It was leaking. I do have the ACs running now. I'm going to go check in on them, and if it's not leaking or I'm not having any of those issues, then we'll consider it fixed. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope it helps out anybody that experiences something like this. Start off with your air conditioner. Start off with the you know, condensation issues and maybe even the freezing, and work your way from there. But that's it. I'm done. Next week we're off to Key West, and I'm going to bring you guys along, and I'm going to show you the campground that we're staying at, which is actually in Stock Island in Key West.